Be bossy too, see?
I like it.
I think you've got three. I think you got three bosses here.
Liz is usually our bossy one in this. So
we're recording.
It felt good to
Okay, welcome everybody. We are here with Couch Surfing with Liz Fenton and Lisa Stanke. We are talking about how to save a life. We are switching the couch surfing couch around, and we're going to put Liz and Lisa on the hot seat tonight. So I'm so excited about this. We're going to have some fun. Just real quick about Warwick's. We are for those of you who are new to us, I see a lot of familiar faces out there though, but and apologies to you who have seen me say this a million times on the couch surfing tour, but we're located in San Diego and La Jolla. We are open for business. We are, you can come in with a mask, social distance. I like to say any way that you can get a book, you can get it from Warwick. So call us, email us, order online, we'll ship it to you, however you can do that. Liz is putting in the link on how to order it. There are signed copies, and we are all set. So thank you guys for coming in and joining us tonight. We're really excited about this. I had some fun with some questions here. So we're going to see if we can get to know Liz and Lisa a little bit better than we have over the last few weeks. So let me do the official, who Liz and Lisa are for those of you that maybe don't know. So Liz Fenton and Lisa, how do you pronounce your last name? Steinke. Okay. I'll start up. Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke have been best friends for over 30 years. They are the co-authors of 7 novels, including the bestseller, The Good Widow. The book we're going to talk about tonight is just released yesterday. They've got a bunch of great quotes from this book, Emily Giffin, Cara Brown, but my favorite was yesterday from Stephen Rowley, and I love Stephen Rowley. If you loved Groundhog Day and now Palm Springs on Hulu, this summer read has the perfect hook for you. Fun, fast-paced, and full of heart. I just love Stephen.
I love him.
I love him. I hadn't heard that one yet. That's awesome.
Oh, he's fantastic. I think he had it on Twitter or something. He's fantastic. So Liz and Lisa host a popular podcast, We Fight So You Don't Have To, and our monthly on-air contributors on our local news, I should say, for San Diego, the Liz and Lisa's Book Club. In their former lives, Liz worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and Lisa was a talk show producer, which shows why she's so good at doing these questions. They both reside with their families and several rescue dogs in Southern California. So, with that, welcome Liz and Lisa.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Julie. So fun. Like I said, we were supposed to be at the store, but we thought, better to do this virtually right now. And it was a good call, I think, in the fact that we pulled it back. We pulled it back a little bit. So are you guys tired of talking about yourselves yet after these last 24 hours?
Oh, we never get tired of that.
Oh, no, girl. We can talk about ourselves till the day is done.
All right, good. So I figured yesterday was probably a full day for you. And so we're going to, yeah. All right. So this particular book, How to Save a Life, is a little bit of a departure from your last few books. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about what this particular book's about and what is different from your last few books? Who wants to go?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go. Feeling really bossy and controlling right now. I'll go. So
like usual.
I was gonna say right now versus all the time. So yes, How to Save a Life. We wanted to get back to our roots, which are our first 3 novels were magical realism, and then we wrote 3 suspense novels. So we want to go back to the magical realism a little bit, but also still include suspense. So this is kind of a hybrid of the two, like a romantic suspense, we think. And it's a dark, heart-pounding love story with a Groundhog Day twist. That's where the magical part comes in, is the Groundhog Day, the reliving the same day. It's about Dom, who 10 years ago broke off his engagement to Mia. And then he runs into her after 10 years, and he thinks it's fate, and he asks her on a date, and they go out, and she dies. And he wakes up the next morning, he's devastated, he's trying to, work it out how she's dead, he's so upset, and then he slowly comes to realize it's the same day again. And so he asks her out again, and on a different kind of date, hoping that will change things, and she still dies. Giving it over to you, Liz. This is the part with you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's basically what happens in the book. But, it's not just about, how can he save Mia, but he's also trying to save the relationship that he had with her. He feels like she's the one that got away 10 years prior. He hasn't really moved on from that. So it's not only about saving her life, but saving the relationship. And then there's other puzzle pieces during that day that he has to kind of put together before he can move forward. So, and he's kind of a type of guy that has been standing still the last 10 years. So it's really just about him finding his way forward in general.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-discovery that he does throughout, and growth that he does throughout the book too. And this is one of those books that it's going to be hard for us to talk too much about it tonight, so we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about you guys, because you give too much away. You really just have to experience the book. But was it a little bit nerve-wracking thinking about switching? Because once you kind of start building up a following and fans, like with your suspense stuff, and then just kind of switch a little bit, were you guys a little nervous about that, or?
I don't think we were. I mean, I don't think we'll ever probably be in a rut, and we tend to write what we want to read, and we get bored easily. And because our first 3 books were magical realism, and we would often hear in our reviews, even people that love the suspense books, sometimes they'd be like, yeah, but I kind of miss this magical realism side of it. And that's not why we did. I think we just missed it. In 3 books, we might switch again. Maybe we'll write erotica or horror or something. I don't know. I don't think so, but you never.
Lisa, you might have just heard a new something.
I mean, I don't think we can't even write a sex scene. So I think erotica's out, but I mean, they start kissing and then we move on. So I think erotica's out, but perhaps horror.
I had the pleasure of interviewing John Grisham earlier this summer, and he said that he wrote a sex scene that his wife read, and she said, "Don't do that anymore." he's never written another one since.
That sounds about right. I mean, there are some authors that execute it very, very well, and more power to them. I just don't think that's our forte, and I don't think we want it to be. We don't really feel we need to get into that.
Yeah, you do a really good job with the pacing and and getting more into the psychology of people, I think is a little bit more interesting. Sometimes that's a little more interesting anyways.
Right.
So was the Groundhog's Day idea one of yours, or did you both kind of come to it together? Like let me ask you this question. So when do you guys have a brainstorming session when you're trying to come up with ideas?
It's different every single time. Before Liz quit her day job, she was doing a lot of driving, and so she was doing a lot of thinking, and she came up with a lot of our ideas at that point. And then for this one, we were on vacation together, and it was November of 2018, and we like to start writing in January of every year. So we had a few months, but I really like to know what we're going to be writing about so I can give it some thought and prepare. And
she likes to know.
I do. And we were having drinks, and I think Liz just wanted to be on vacation, but I really pushed it, and I'm happy that I did, because we had a really good session. We don't normally do it that way, where we just sit down and kind of knock ideas off each other. So, and Liz, you could tell them about the book you just read, because that really lended itself to the idea.
Right. So on the way, while I was traveling there on the first day of vacation, I was reading The 7 Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I don't know if you guys have read that book. It's an incredibly intricate book about a man who wakes up every day in a different person's body at the same party. It's the same day, but he's waking up in a different body. And it really stuck with me. What was interesting is it's really a character-driven book. It's pretty slow, and that's not typically what I read. And I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. And I really just love the idea of looking at a day from different angles every day to solve something. So when Lisa forced me to brainstorm with her in the pool we were having margaritas and I just wanted to like float around. I had just finished the book and we had talked about writing like this Blake Crouch like ripoff idea. We had it a couple of months back, and
right.
I wasn't on board. And so when I pitched this, it's kind of, and someone asked us this the other day, like, how can you tell when it's the idea? And we can just tell because like she really liked that idea, but she knew I wasn't really, I never said it, but like there's an idea that will come up, like this idea came up and we both were like, yes.
And because that's the thing that's a little different. Yeah. It's a little different. I mean, when you're a single writer, and I've always been fascinated on how two writers can come together and write a novel and do it seamlessly, where you can't like really tell, okay, who's, you know, where was the switch off at? Because when it's a solo author, it's just like it's out of their brain. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that part of it because I'm fascinated by like how you guys do this. I mean, what is so you came up with the idea in the pool. So now do you both go off and write different stuff? Do you, I mean, what the heck do you guys do?
No, we do not go off and do anything. We wait until January. After I had that idea, if it was up to me, I might start writing, but we like to wait until in January, just get through the holidays, which does make sense. And so we'll think it through and then we'll come back together in January and kind of talk about, you know, what we've each been thinking about, who the characters could be and that sort of thing. And so then we'll just do our process, which is to begin writing. So someone will write chapter 1 and then pass it to the other person who will edit it and pass it back. And we just keep doing that with the chapter until we're satisfied. And then someone writes chapter 2. And so we like to do it that way because we're both involved in every word that's written essentially. And so we find that to be much better. And we think that's why it comes across as if it's one voice, which was a big deal for us when we talked about writing together. We did not want it to sound like two different people, or we didn't want to deliberately be two different characters. We wanted to, be involved in everything together.
We also sit down too before that starts and come up with the characters, and we'll have a in-person sit down
That's
before
what I
we
said.
start writing.
I said that.
Oh, sorry.
I did.
Bossy.
You were.
I know.
You were daydreaming.
Hey, this is part of my questioning on how you resolve conflict. So we're going to get into that too, because that's a thing that. So when you guys are writing and you like, let's say, okay, Lisa, this is your chapter, whichever it is, and then Liz, you look at it and you edit it, and then do you insert yourself into that too?
Yeah, so it just depends. I mean, so sometimes one of us will send the other a chapter that doesn't need a lot, or maybe she'll send me a chapter that's totally overwritten, or maybe she'll send me a chapter that really just isn't working, or I can tell that she wasn't feeling it when we have a pretty tight schedule, how we split up the week. So like you have chapters due all the time, every couple days. So you want to write, you don't feel like write, it doesn't matter. Like I have to get that chapter to her so she can edit it and then start her. So there's times on both sides of the equation, I think, when it's nice to have a co-author, is if I am not feeling great and I write a chapter, I know she's going to go in and fix it.
Okay.
Or she might send me a chapter that doesn't really need hardly anything.
Which is every single time.
Oh yeah.
Every single time.
This is perfect. Every word is in the right spot.
She never has any changes. It's amazing.
None.
So when you guys are back up with the characters, so do you guys decide names and all of that up front? Is that all, Yeah,
I think so. For the main people we do, because one thing that's exciting about the way we do write is we will outline maybe 3 to 5 chapters at a time, but it's pretty loose. It's just there's like an objective in each chapter, and that's it. And so you can approach it any way you want, and the other person doesn't know what to expect, which is fun. And so sometimes Liz will introduce a character. Like I think she introduced Chuck, who's a real fan favorite, and I was pleasantly surprised, like this is going to be great. And as through the course of the editing, he became a really big part of the book, so that's fun. And so we're not really we don't really have to follow any one thing other than just the objective of the chapter.
So do you ever sit down in the same room and write? Ever?
Oh no.
Not anymore. No, we had an incident at like our first big expo and I think our agent's on this call, so she's gonna be laughing.
So is our editor.
Yeah. But it was our first book expo, and for those of you that know, Book Expo America is a huge book trade show that goes on every year. We run into Julie every year there, and we actually we went to lunch with our agent and editor. We had a one book deal with Simon & Schuster. We went to lunch and basically sold 2 books at like this wine-fueled lunch at Red Cat. And Elizabeth came to us and said, hey, we just need these 2 paragraphs, to put the deal through. And we weren't used to writing together. All we had to do was write like 2 paragraphs about the ideas that we pitched. And we just got in like this huge fight over like the using start or begin. And we were standing in line to get something signed. I think Jim Carrey had written a book or something. Yeah, our agent saying true story.
It was Jim Carrey had written a book, and which ended up, we didn't even get the book. We got like a signed piece of paper, which was so soul crushing. But especially after the fight. But these bloggers were standing behind us, and we kind of had, we're like, yeah, sorry, we're fighting. And then we ran into them the next year.
They came to our signing the next year.
Right.
And they're like, do you remember us? We stood behind you.
You were fighting about start versus begin. You guys were in a rip-roaring fight. And we're like, yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, we still fight, but we don't write together anymore.
Oh, okay. You've decided that's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think start versus begin. I mean, that's so dumb or stupid. We just couldn't get it together. I think there were a lot of other things at play.
Well, there might have been some pressure. I think and so that might have been,
there was a lot. We hadn't traveled. This was our first real,
we were sharing a hotel room, which we don't.
Yeah, there was
anymore.
A lot of things that were wrong. But it's better. It's just better that we have our separate space and we get to have our individuality in that way. So someone's not like breathing over your shoulder. You just get to have
when you do have conflict though, when it's like, so you have an idea and you feel really strongly that you really want it to go this way, how do you guys resolve it? And do you resolve it on the phone? Do you get together, or is it all on emails back and forth? How do you guys resolve that conflict?
Well, we've resolved it different ways over the years. I think we've gotten to a good place where we really get on the phone and speak live. But I think there were many years, particularly when Lisa was living out of state, when she was living in Chicago, but there were some email conversations that went on that should have taken place. They could have gone better, or text, but we've really made a pact with ourselves that we're not, especially when it's business stuff, that we're not discussing it on text. Like, we try to keep all that stuff on email now. And that if there's an issue, that we pick up the phone. And she lives closer to me now too. So I think I just see and talk. I have a better connection to you now that you're here.
Right.
Right.
We're also older and wiser and more books in. I mean, this was the very beginning when we were like tripping over ourselves and trying to.
Well, you're learning. That's the whole thing. It's like, and there's probably some really comfort in being together and having a partner to kind of go through this process with. You're not just out there by yourself going, oh, am I crazy? So there's probably some really good things. And I want to talk about some of that too. So what's the best thing about, there's 2 questions here. What's the best thing about being an author? And then the best thing about doing it together?
Ooh. You can go first.
Okay. Well, the best thing about being an author is for me, it's my passion. Since I was a little girl, it's what I wanted to do. but never really thought I would do. One of those things, like it wasn't actively pursuing it at all. But I did have a television career and it was successful, but I was never passionate about it. And so it feels really good to wake up every day and want to do this job and enjoy it, even, you know, down to every part of it I enjoy pretty much. And so I would say that's my favorite part of being an author. And my favorite part of doing it together is, aside from it only being half the work, which is great, it is really great to do it together. I mean, we've known each other a long time and 30 plus years, and we've been through a lot. And just having that shared history, I think, gives us that, you know, secret sauce. And so I enjoy doing it with Liz, and we've talked about this, like neither one of us would really want to do it alone. It would feel just odd at this point. So you have the floor now, Liz.
Is this where I tell you I want to do it alone? No, I'm just kidding.
No, because I set it up so you'd look like an asshole if you said that. So I can't say it.
I won't admit it then. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that, you know, we both had careers before that we were both really good at and that we're both grateful for, but I don't think we were particularly passionate about either of them. As she mentioned, she was in TV. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. But I think, you know, for me, what I like having a partner is whenever you're, and maybe this is all partners, but this is particularly Lisa and I, like if I'm off, she's on. If she's off, I'm on. We're never off at the same time, thank God. And then also, you know, being an author is hard. I mean, it's a lot of rejection, a lot of feedback, and it doesn't bother us that much. And I think it's because we have each other. I mean, yeah, I think we both were in industries that were taught in the past that taught you to, you know, take criticism well, but I think part of it's because we have each other.
Which that brings up the questions. That brings up somebody that asked in the question, but I'm going to jump onto the hard part about being an author too, but I'll wait till that. So in the chat, hi Holly, we're so glad you're here and you came with us. And they said that Holly and hi. Thank you so much for they're telling you guys, thank you so much for being a bright spot during this time. I've followed you since discovering Chick Lit is not dead.
Oh, that's going way back.
Way, girl.
Wow, that's awesome.
And she says it's been a joy to watch your careers flourish. So what is each of your, we kind of went over this a little bit, but she's more talking about the process. So what is each of your favorite part of the writing process and your least favorite part of the process?
I think for me, my favorite part is writing the beginning of the book and the last 3 chapters of the book. I don't know why. I love the middle. I mean, it's fine, we do it, but that's probably my least favorite part of writing. But that's something Lisa is. I think she's very good in the middle. But like, I love writing the ending chapters. I look forward to it. Not just because we're done.
Yeah, you love it. It's just like an unsaid, unspoken thing between us that she's going to take the first crack at the end. And I know she loves it so much that it's one of those things where I'm like, I know you're writing this. She's like, oh, I know I am. And she enjoys it. So, and I don't particularly care which thing I'm writing. So maybe that's why the middle is fine for me, because I just enjoy the whole process. But I'd say for me, it's actually the editing. I love to go in and fix everything and because it's done. And so then you can just kind of go in and fine tune. And even though it's when you first get your edit letter, it's overwhelming and you feel exhausted. But then once you take a couple days and let it sink in, then it's fun to dive in and do that. But I may be in the minority on that. I don't know.
Well, I think everybody's got their own personalities and like what the part of the process that speaks to them. And that's where it's great that you guys have each other to do that. Right. You know, it's like you can build on each other's strengths in that way, you know, and somebody can hold the load, you know.
Right. Yeah, and thank you, Holly. I want to say thank you, Holly, for being around for so many years. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
That's nice that you stuck with us. Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about, and I'm going to get into your past a little bit, but I won't yet because there's a question in. How did you guys decide this is Christine. Hi, Christine. How did you decide to write your first book together? Like what was the What was that catalyst that you went, we need to do this?
Well, we met in
Oh,
high
yeah.
school. We were I know a lot of you know this, so I'll just give you the cliff notes. And we've been friends since we were freshmen in high school, and then we went to college together. And we loved reading. I mean, we would swap books. I mean, Danielle Steele, Sydney Sheldon. I mean, you know,
All the
we were
classics.
always, we were always reading. And that's where we started talking about writing a book together. We took it was a drama class. We had to write a one-act play, and we wrote it on our word processor.
Theater class, and
almost killed each other, which should have been maybe that should have been a sign. But anyway, Lisa, you take it from here.
Yeah, so we did write a one-act play together on a word processor that we thought was the best thing that anybody had ever written in their lives, and we came across it recently just as a side note, and my God, it's horrible. But so I think after we went through that, we kind of thought, okay, let's give it a break. This didn't really work out, and I think another 10 plus years went by, and it was me actually. We kind of talked about it here and there, and chick lit was really popular, and we were really into it, and we wanted to write something like that, and we were just kind of always talking but never acting. And then I just took a stab at a chapter one day, just out of nowhere, about just anything, and I sent it to her, and I said, we should really do this thing. Let's just write a book together. And it was not great timing for Liz. I mean, she had just had a baby and was very busy, and I had no idea what that was like because I was still single and I didn't even have a pet. So I was like, all I do is work, and I when I come home from my TV job, I have nothing to do. And so let's write a book. And so she reluctantly agreed. I think it wasn't the best time, but she really wanted to do it, one of those things. And so 10 years later, I was in her shoes. I had just had a baby, and I had to go through it. And so karma, I had to be exactly where she was. And I think that was about when Your Perfect Life was going on, or somewhere around there.
We were writing,
so it kind of just happened. It wasn't like we sat down and had a meeting or anything. I shoved it down her throat, basically.
It was a good shove. It was a good shove.
It was a good shove.
She likes to give shoves.
Yeah.
She's a shover.
All
right, so Kim Rogers, I'm going to get to another question in the chat room, and then I have something that I'm going to tell that I'm still dying to know too. So still I've still got
I know.
After all these years of knowing you guys.
Right.
So Kim Rogers, hi Kim. I just read and reviewed this book, and all caps, loved it. The title and the tie-in with the song is perfect. Did you love the song, or did it just work out well with the title? She's been humming it all week.
Oh, you know what's funny is I really, Liz and I don't think we've ever had this conversation. I don't think I know your answer, Liz, but I loved the song when it came out, and in fact the whole album. Did you as well, Liz?
Oh, I love the song. I love the fray. Yeah.
Right. And so, but I was doing research on popular songs at the time Dom and Mia were first dating, and it came up. And so I put it on a list with a bunch of other songs. We were trying to figure out what song he would wake up to each morning, and we wanted it to be their song. And that song popped up, and I sent it to Liz, and she said, that's it. And not only is that it, but that should be the title of the book. So it just sort of happened really organically. Like we didn't even.
Right. It was so obvious to me when she sent the email. And Kim, thank you for reading and reviewing the book. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Reviews are so important. But I mean, I think it was so obvious. Well, she sent me a huge list, and to me, it just like jumped out that had to be the song. But I mean, who doesn't love that song? Like,
right.
It's like the best song.
I mean,
ever.
I think it's a great song.
I tried to stalk them. I tried to stalk them. They didn't care about me. They're hard to find. They didn't write back to me.
We wanted them to. No, they never got back to us.
Damn them. They could
I
have at least done
know.
something on Twitter or something. It
I
doesn't take anything to
know.
tweet
They
about
have like
something.
no, Liz said they have
don't-
like no digital footprint. They're just
they're on Instagram, but they're not active, and they're like
Right.
their email doesn't even work. They're just not.
They're
And I even
probably
tried,
old now. They're probably old now.
maybe. And I have some family members in a really popular band, and I even tried to go that route and be like, do you know the guys in the Fray? Because they like,
Oh,
no.
I didn't know that you did that.
Yeah, and they were like, no, we don't know the guys. I'm like,
They're like 30 years older than us. We do not know
fine,
those guys.
it's fine. That old.
So,
Nice try, though.
So that leads to, so kind of getting back to the book a little bit, and then I'll get back to more about you two. So what do you want people to take away from the book? Like, is there ever like when you, and not just this book, but any of your books, do each of them do you have like this sort of like takeaway, or are you just like, just writing for your pleasure and then hoping that everybody likes?
We seem to, go ahead.
Good.
Well, I was going to say,
After you.
I was going to say, we seem to kind of stick with these themes of like fate and destiny, and if you make one choice, does it change your future? And does that matter? And maybe characters being more aware of that. And then regret. I feel like regret comes up a lot in our books, and I don't really know why. We're not like super regretful people, but it seems to be a common theme, right, Lise?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to write books that people can relate to, even if it's reliving the same day over and over, that they can relate to the themes within that concept. And also, we just want you to be thinking about the book after you close it and finish it. I know for me, when I read a book that I really connect with, I am still thinking about it days, weeks, months later. So we hope for that as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing and that's the sign of a character, and being able to develop a character that, and readers will pick which character they want to relate to. That's the whole thing. It's like they're the director or the focus puller. They decide who they, even though you guys have written it.
Right.
So now back to both of you. So in this publishing world, you guys get to meet lots of people. So who have you already met that was one of your like, oh my God, I can't believe I just met that person?
Well, I'll go. I met Judy Blume, but I'm going to use loosely. I was one of a billion people in a line to get my book signed. And so it was like one of those, like you can only sign this book and you have like 2 seconds and maybe you get a picture if you're lucky. But it was still amazing just to say hello to, my childhood, author hero. So I'd say that was probably my big one.
I would say we were actually, we did a couple Zooms last night with some bookstagrammers, and we were telling this story, but we were together and we met Harlan Coben. We were at Thriller Fest last year, and we actually, when you go, there's like an author check-in situation. So we were in line, and we love him, and he's very tall. Like when you see him, very tall. It's him. And so I turned to Lisa, I'm like, it's Harlan Coben. And like, we attacked him in line, him.
I'm sure he didn't mind.
I don't know.
He was very nice about it. But we couldn't control ours. We get a little, and then there's 2 of us, and the voice octaves go up, and there was a selfie, and then we had to take a second picture because the first one didn't come out right. I mean, we did everything wrong. But I would do it all over again.
Yeah, we shoved our book on him, and then Riley Sager was over on the side, like judging us, but it was fine.
We talked to Riley about it. We talked to Riley about it. He's like, I saw, but I don't blame you. And then he took like a really cute photo with us too.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have anybody on your list that you really want to meet? That it's like that. Oh my God, I need to meet that author.
I would. Oh gosh. Just off the top of my head, I've never met Kristen Hanna, but I would really love to talk to her about some of her books that I just love so much. That's just off the top of my head, though. I'm sure there's more.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to actually meet Judy Blume in like a real. I wasn't with Lisa
Right.
when she was there. I mean, that's someone I would really want to meet,
Right.
or even Helen Fielding. I mean, like all the we've
Yeah.
met Jennifer Weiner and Emily Giffen and all those like people that really
Jane
started
Green,
like
yeah.
a movement.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jane Green and we adore all of them and you know, this started like this movement. So Helen Fielding would kind of be like the final.
She is. Yeah, she's kind of up there.
Lan Moriarty would be another one.
Oh, we've met her.
But it was very.
But yeah, I know.
It wasn't the real thing. It was,
Right.
but we've said hi. But
Yeah.
to have a conversation would be amazing. Like, who do you want to have dinner with?
Right, exactly.
She could be one of mine for
Yep.
sure.
We attacked her at BEA.
Jojo Moyes maybe too.
Yeah.
I could keep.
Yeah, that would be a fun cocktail party.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So who are you guys reading right now that you would recommend besides How to Save a Life? Everybody needs to be reading this right now, but besides that.
I just finished One to Watch a couple weeks ago. It was really good, about a plus size woman that goes on a dating show. And I'm also reading Craigslist Confessional, who we just booked her for the Warwick's Couch Surfing. It's about a woman who took a year off her job. I think she was like in a hedge fund. I mean, she had this really high profile job and she took a year off she put out Craigslist ads and like interviewed people and their essays about the people that she interviewed. So I'm really excited to talk to her in a couple weeks or next week. We're gonna talk to her next week.
I think it's next week. I just read The Side of You by Holly Miller, which is one of those where I'm still thinking about it. It's about a man who has dreams about what's going to happen to the people he loves, and those dreams aren't always positive, and so he tries not to fall in love so he doesn't have to have the bad dream. But of course in this book he falls in love, so you follow that journey. And then I just bought The Second Home by Christina Clancy, and I'm excited to check out.
We're hosting her on the couch surfing.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk to her.
I'm excited to read that before I talk to her because I know all the questions.
Okay, so we have a couple more minutes here. So we're going to do a lightning round of get to know you here. So we'll see. You already answered one of my first ones, what was your first argument? You already told us that was in high school in the drama club, so we don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are a drama club.
They're a drama club on your own. So first concert. First concert.
Antelope.
Sting.
So not together, because I was going to say separate or together. So you weren't together for your first concert. Okay.
No.
Wine or cocktail?
Wine.
Cocktail.
I love this. So you guys are really opposite. Pizza or burger?
Burger. Although I'm a
there you
vegetarian now, so neither.
Okay, there you go. Favorite dessert?
Oh God, I'm not a huge dessert person because I can't have dairy, which sucks, but it would be mint chip ice cream if I could just go for it.
I'm actually in the exact same boat. So, but I would say if I had to have something and I could actually eat it, like chocolate mousse, I think would be my favorite.
How many states have you lived in?
Oh,
One.
a lot.
One.
I've at least 5.
Wow.
I've only lived here in only this part of California.
Yeah, I've been around. Yeah, I've been around the block.
Oh, well, I think we're coming to our end of our time here together. So I know we always ask at the couch surfing. So, and I know a lot of everybody here has been to those, but give us how to find you again and on what's the best way to follow you guys and which one you like doing the best.
Oh, well, we're definitely most active on Instagram where we're Lisa and Liz, but we're also active on Facebook too, Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke. And you can find on our website links to everything, including our YouTube channel, which has all our book recommendations, from our book club. And it has actually these couch surfing, these are all archived there. And that's at lizandlisa.com and all the couch surfing events that are coming up in the next couple weeks. See, I'm still plugging it, Julie.
I know, it's so good. You're so good.
I can't
know.
stop. I can't stop.
Someone's saying that desserts can also be dairy free. I need more information. I just saw that pop up
Almond
in the
milk, like
chat.
almond milk ice cream. Yeah.
Oh,
good.
right. That's true.
Yeah, you can buy it
That's true.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to look into that.
Well, and they're thanking us for the couch surfing.
Thank you.
The couch. Thank you, and thank you everybody that supports the couch surfing, because we've done everything from debut authors all the way up to New York Times bestselling authors, and we can't thank you enough for joining in, especially with the debut authors, because especially during this time.
Right.
And the next time we are able to get together and have a live event, you guys are coming in. We're going to be drinking cocktails and we're going to be having some fun together.
Yeah, you guys put on a mean in-person book party, so you always have the wine, and so we're looking forward to being
We need to do
there.
that. Yeah. I don't think it would have been the same. I know we were going to try and do it, but with like 20 people, so you know what? It just
this is better.
Yeah, it just wasn't. I wasn't feeling it. It was just, so
this is better.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us, Julie.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Love you
It's
too.
been so fun getting to know you even better during the couch surfing, and How to Save a Life is fantastic. Oh, we didn't really talk about the cover too much, but you guys knew when it was, like the backstory, when you knew it when you saw it, right?
And you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah,
we love it.
It's a great cover. It's a really good cover.
Thank you.
Great blurb. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and hopefully you'll join us next week. I think, do we have a couple next week, I think?
We have the Craigslist confession, and then we have one on Tuesday too. We have we have Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I knew it was kind of a big deal. Okay.
Yes.
So that'll
be fun. The Air Affair. They wrote the Royal We, and now the sequel is the Air Affair.
So that will be some fun.
I'm looking forward to that.
How'd you guys like being on the other side of the couch?
It's fun. You're really good at this.
I love it. It's actually, I don't know. It was nice. It was really nice to just sit back and drink my cocktail. And
I actually think my job as moderator might be in danger.
I don't know. You better.
I'm
climbing that ladder. You guys better watch your bags.
My job is writing the questions too. She had great questions. I mean, Julie, maybe you should start writing the questions.
You guys are doing